Okay, so we got some alopecia. A lot of people have alopecia. A lot of people have it. So many people have this, okay? But remember this. Keep this in mind right now. So many people have healed from alopecia. They have healed their alopecia using medical medium information. Very important. I did sure you know that, but in here I talk about peas, the whole thing about peas in here. Peas help with alopecia. They're very helpful with hair loss in women. Eyelashes, eyebrows, just all of it. So bring in some peas. So some green peas, you could steam them, you can incorporate them into your meals. You might even be able to do like a medical medium mono cleanse with green peas, like with the Cleanse Do Heal book. Here we go, alopecia. We got adrenals. Adrenals have a certain amount of hormones undiscovered by medical research and science. Medical research and science is not looking at every single hormone produced by your adrenal glands, but there is a subset of hormones, a hormone that's responsible for women to keep hair follicles strong and to hold hair within that hair follicle. If you've gone through, say, difficult relationships, bad relationship breakups, betrayal, hardships, struggles, stress, financial stress, anything, adrenals have a problem. And what that problem is, they get pressure on them and they have to perform and they have to release adrenaline. And that adrenaline is there to battle the stress, protect you from a stroke, protect your brain. But yet it kind of backfires over time because your adrenaline becomes toxic as you go along as well. It's corrosive and toxic. But in the process of stress that women endure in so many ways for so many reasons, adrenals can weaken to the degree where it's not detected by their physician. Adrenal fatigue is not detected by their natural doctor, holistic doctor, DO, functional medicine doctor, whatever that doctor is, their MD, their GP, their internist. It's not detected because science isn't looking for every hormone that the adrenals produce. But there is one hormone that's produced that's responsible for keeping hair on the head of a woman, including eyebrows and eyelashes. Okay, so in the medical medium books, you can look into alopecia and you can see the different supplements for bringing back hair for women, and part of that is restoring the adrenals. So the supplements are geared to adrenals restoring, so therefore that hormone that's missing now in the adrenals can restore and come back. And that hormone is responsible for hair growing back on the heads of women that are missing it with the diagnosis of alopecia. Got some footnotes for you though. Get ready for the footnotes. Stay away from coffee. You got alopecia? Not going to really get that hair back. Stay away from green tea. Got alopecia? Not going to get that hair back. It's not coming back easy. Stay away from chocolate. Got alopecia? Chocolate will keep hair from coming back. Adrenaline producing chocolate. Okay, you guys know what it's like to eat chocolate. You guys know what happens? You eat it and you're like, holy crap. You're like on fleek. You're on like speed. You're like flying. You can't eat a big old, chocolate bar every single day. You'll literally fall apart. You'll fall apart. Too much chocolate will kill a person. Give them a slow death. It is a drug. Sparingly. Chocolate, caffeine, coffee, caffeine, you name it, all supports alopecia in a negative way, not allowing the hormone to be reproduced by the adrenals. Medical research and science didn't even know about the hormone. So if you're here, like, where's the study? Just so you know, anytime they even put studies into anything anymore, what the study is isn't even what the other thing is. It's crazy. It's just such a sham out there. You guys seeing that out there? It's been happening for a decade. The point is yeah, there's things you can do to heal. Okay, help healing alopecia, please. So alopecia. So women aren't supposed to lose their hair. They're not supposed to lose their hair. But women have a couple of things going on that men don't have, or a bunch of things going on that men don't have. Yeah? Okay? So a woman has a menstruation cycle every month, give or take. And during that process, that is to shed the lining of the uterus, keep it vital and alive, push out toxins, push out poisons, so that one day that can happen is a baby's there. And there's a baby in the house. Magically, there's a baby in the house. But women, what happens is the process of having a reproductive system is a process where a lot of adrenaline is used. For instance, alopecia can happen when you don't have a baby. Alopecia can happen for women when they do have babies. Okay? But women, their immune system lowers during their menstrual cycle. Lowers like by 80%. 20% left is your immune system now working on your reproductive system. But 80% is 20% is working on the rest of your body while the 80% is working on your reproductive system. So keep that in mind, that majority of your immune system is now working for your reproductive system. And then a small amount of your immune system is now working for the rest of your body. During this process, women can have different struggles because of this. Pathogens, different problems that occur, bacteria, and then when their cycle comes on, their immune system lowers, and bacteria, viruses, pathogens, bacteria of different kinds, not just say staph, but strep, E. coli, different varieties, not just your normal strep, can rise up. As this rises up, and it does for all women, the adrenals go under stress. So every menstrual cycle, adrenaline is released. So every time a woman's going through a menstruation, the menstruation process, adrenaline is released. A woman gets pregnant and is about to have a baby, a lifetime of adrenaline is released. A lifetime of adrenaline is released. I'm saying this because it's important to know. The birthing process requires a large amount of adrenaline. And in that process, the adrenals get wiped out with certain hormones that keep hair follicles in so they don't drop or dissipate or die. But when the adrenals get weaker over time, these hormones, specifically to keep hair follicles in, go awry or dissipate or disappear. You don't have to have a baby for this to happen, but usually women have 1 or 2 or 3 babies at some point, if their adrenals are compromised in some way through other avenues too, emotional stress, life stress, losses, heartaches, whatever it is, financial stress, a lot of adrenaline is going to run, and then their hair is going to start falling out. So you're going to get patches of hair missing. Patches of hair missing are areas where it's void of a specific hormone medical research and science has no idea about. Unfortunately, for alopecia, we're not there. So what medical research and science has done is they have packaged alopecia in the category of autoimmune, where they say, it's just your body attacking the hair follicles. It's just your body attacking, your hair. Your hair's falling out because of autoimmune disease. You have PCOS. That's why you have alopecia. So they go and they run and they try to say you have PCOS. If they can't find signs of PCOS, they'll say you still have PCOS as a woman because you got alopecia. So there's a lot of confusion in the area, PCOS and alopecia, and all of this with women regarding losing hair. But what happens is, as a woman, you have to keep the adrenals strong, but a lot of women who don't get pregnant and don't have babies, or they're young, they're just young women in their 20s and they're not getting pregnant, they don't plan on getting pregnant and they get alopecia, they may have other issues, emotional stress, emotional harm done. They may have difficult mental abuse that has occurred to them. They may have had a rape happen. They may have had some other challenge, some other issues, and whatever that is, it can allow for adrenaline to be lost. Their diet could be really poor. They could be eating the clean type of keto, type pure, type paleo, type, low carb, type carnivore, type whatever you want to call it now. Just different name, different, they just repackage it with a new name and everybody goes, oh my God. And right? It's a new name. And whatever it is, they could end up losing more adrenaline. Maybe they had sensitive adrenals to begin with. Maybe their mom was a caffeine drinker early on, still a caffeine drinker. Maybe their mom was a caffeine drinker while the baby was in their womb. Different chocolate, caffeine eaters, and the caffeine weakened the baby's adrenals from the start. You guys with me? And as the baby's adrenals were weakened at the start, the baby's born into the world, right? And the baby comes into the world, and now the baby has weakened adrenals, is what happens. And the baby has potentially a weakened liver. And then as time goes on, the baby turns into a toddler turns into child, the older child, so forth, teenager, and then you're in your early 20s, and now you got an alopecia diagnosis where you're missing a hormone or it's very low in the adrenals that medical research and science has not locked down to because they're locked on yet because they really don't care. That's not something they're really worried about right now. And it's about restoring the adrenals to get that one hormone back up to par, the one that keeps the follicle alive for women on their heads, and that's how you do it. You work on restoring adrenals so that one day you can get those adrenals just strong enough where you start reviving that one aspect of the adrenal gland that produces the hormone that keeps your hair on for women, and that's the key right there. But women do come into this world with weakened adrenals because of one thing or another. Could be something, the mother's lifestyle. It could be anything like that, okay? So that's what we're talking about there. That's some information about alopecia. There's more to, and we can do a whole alopecia show. You can find information on alopecia in the medical medium books. It's Cleanse to Heal. Get a hold of that. Do a 369. Did you drink any coffee, eat any chocolate, drink any matcha tea, any black tea throughout the years? Because the hair loss comes later and it all falls out and went with women. And the timing doesn't always have to be the same. I've seen 20-year-olds drink it for a couple of years and it all comes out when they're 25, 27. They're at these autoimmune doctors. They don't know what's wrong. Alopecia is starting. And you can drink it for 10, 15 years, 18 years and keep your hair. But when you're now 65, it's all going to fall out. And then you're wearing like a wig. The greatest joke ever played on women, which is the sickest joke by the industry. Get them addicted to caffeine. Get them addicted to chocolate throughout their life. This way, their hair falls out later because it just does because of it. Because the adrenals lose their hormones, and then the hair follicles die. And then women lose their hair. Now, maybe you didn't have chocolate ever in your life. Maybe you didn't have caffeine ever in your life, and you got some hair loss there. Well, then you're still losing the hormone in the adrenal for other reasons, and we got to talk about that. And sluggish liver, low-grade viral issues. You're not taking care of your adrenals. You're not eating enough throughout, meaning you're not eating enough snacks for adrenals. There's all kinds of reasons. So keep that in mind. I talk all about that in the information, and maybe a bad event happened in your life, a divorce, a betrayal, someone stabbed you in the back and twisted the knife too hard, and which is terrible because that's what happens out there. Maybe a couple of emotional bullets hit you because that happens every day out there. Broken trust, dear Lord, broken trust, betrayal, broken heart, everything, and losses. That could also knock the hair off your head years later, like 3 years later, 5 years later from a stressful event. Your adrenals are running from the emotional event all the time. And if you're somebody who does caffeine, your adrenals are running during the caffeine, and boom, that hair's gonna go. For women, it hinges on these things. Sure, a piece of chocolate's harmless, I get it. You know, a cup of coffee's harmless, an espresso's harmless, sure, but the hair falls out later. But we gotta physically support ourselves, okay? And get it free at the library if you want, okay? Like I said, everything's free. The hair thins, hair falls out for women. There's that. The sunspots all happen, and they gotta all get the laser techniques. The hormones get all imbalanced, right? So all that is coming out of the adrenals. All that's, all that, it's because of the adrenals, because of the caffeine. But so a lot of women suffer from hair thinning, hair loss after pregnancies, even if it's 6 months after childbirth, a year after childbirth, 2 months after childbirth, during childbirth, and because so much adrenaline was used and caffeine was stimulating so much adrenaline, so you get the hair thinning. Hair loss for 5 years, been doing celery juice. It's another hair loss question that I have here. So I want to make sure we address those. Those are so important. I've been having hair loss for 5 years, been doing celery juice, heavy metal detox smoothie, an anti-bug cleanse, and your recommended supplements for hair loss for 6 weeks. Hair loss seems to be a little worse than before. Anything you'd recommend? Is there something I'm missing? How long does it take to see results? Here's the funny thing. Here's how it works with hair loss. Hair loss, your hair falling out of your head. Like when you're losing hair and it's coming out everywhere, whatever, and you're losing hair. What happens is that's from 6 to 12 months before of something happening in your life. Okay? If you have a really intense emotional experience where your adrenals were running and you were under adrenaline stress and it lowered that hormone in one adrenal gland, okay? And that happened a year ago. Say it was a relationship problem. Say it was a financial problem. Say it was something else problem. Say you had to move out of your house. Say you had to move out of your apartment and it was a tough time. You're not going to have the hair loss the day you have a problem. You're going to have the hair loss 6 months later, even 3 months later, but 6 months later, a year later, to whatever that event occurred at that moment. Same thing if you're viral. If you were viral and you were fatigued and not feeling good a year before, you can still have hair falling out from a year before. From a year before. And if you haven't gotten the adrenals better, repairing them yet, because it takes time to repair some of them, to get that hormone back. It takes time to see the results. But here's what will happen. Over time, you'll see the results and it'll come, even if you stop doing the good stuff. So say, like this person said, I've been having hair loss for 5 years, been doing celery juice, heavy metal detox smoothie, anti-bug cleanse, and your recommended supplements for hair loss for 6 weeks. That's 6 weeks of what you're doing. A year from now is going to stop your hair falling out at that time or put hair on your head at that time. And you know what? Chances are, whatever you're doing a year from now, like flying a kite, doing something, that'll be what got your hair back. Because you don't know how, whatever you ate, whatever you did, you might have been eating pizza a year from now. Just say someone could be eating pizza a year from now, and all of a sudden, their hair's not falling out so much. Oh my God, it was the pizza. That's what it was. It wasn't the 6 to 12 months ago that I did the anti-bug cleanse, that you did the celery juice, that you did the heavy metal detox smoothie. That's how hair follicles work. That's how the reconstruction of the adrenal glands work. And so, but another thing too, are you off all the caffeine? Another thing too, because if you're not off all the caffeine, but you're doing the heavy metal detox smoothie, you're trying to get your hair back, you're doing the celery juice, you're doing all this, and you're not off the chocolate, you're not off the caffeine in the chocolate, you're battling it. You're battling it. So you're doing all this good stuff, but you still got a little caffeine in the mix that's also adding to it and even could be causing it or contributing to it. And so, and the caffeine always causes hair loss for all women down the road. It always does. You can be, jogging, you could be 22 years old and you're jogging every single day and you're totally, you're in shape, you're working on it, you're eating good food, you're doing the keto diet, you're doing a plant-based diet, whatever it is. But you're doing the caffeine. Eventually, no matter what, you're going to have hair thinning. Every single woman, almost every single one will, with all that caffeine that's been pounding out those adrenal glands for so long. I'm not saying you need to stop it or you got to stop it or don't do it. That's not it. I'm not the caffeine police. I'm not the chocolate police. I'm not anything like that. I'm just saying that it's something you might want to consider just, getting a little under control. The industry loves to keep women addicted because if the industry can keep, the caffeine industry can keep women addicted, then it's like bankroll, man, shareholders bankroll all over the world. It's an unbelievable bankroll situation how it works. So that's another thing right there. So anyway, so there's a lot of stuff you can do to get that back, and try not to lose faith. You're doing what you're doing is going to pay off. It's going to pay off.